Browns defensive end Myles Garrett made the Pro Bowl with 13.5 sacks last season, but check out his hops, the windmill dunk.
The best athletes in the NFL, see, with respect, I believe, overall, are the pass rushers, the defensive ends, the guys that are most likely to be...
The best athletes?
You disagree with me?
Oh, I totally disagree with you. It's either the wide receivers or the defensive back. They can do more athletic things. Now, you might be surprised by how high some of the defensive linemen can jump. Big. But the best athletes, it has to do with running and jumping. Okay, now Myles Garrett, he's a freakish athlete of the defensive linemen.
I'm thinking Myles Garrett, Julius Peppers.
But there's only a couple of them. You got also a couple hippos and rhinoceros. I mean, them things, they ain't moving.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
We're talking about two different things. So you're talking about if we put all the wide receivers in the league.
And the defensive
backs. I'm talking about if we were to say who are the 5 best in all the league, raw athletes.
I'm still going with those positions. Absolutely,
Patrick
that would be.
Odell,
yes.
Garrett,
yes.
Okay. All right. We'll discuss more. Nick's list tomorrow. Best non-football athletes.
I thought you guys were going to ask me about those palm trees in the background.
Oh, no.
Man, I'm sick of this concrete.
Time for stories to start your morning. Tough news for the Cowboys. Defensive end Randy Gregory was suspended indefinitely by the NFL for violating the league's substance abuse policy. See, what was your reaction to this?
It's unfortunate for him. He's one of a number of guys through the years I've tried to help, tried to give him the power through rehab, through the system of AA, through going to meetings. The system has worked for me for almost 30 years. And I wrote a letter for the league to try to get him reinstated because the opportunity for him to be able to provide for his family playing football is very, very important. But he struggled like a lot of other talented players that struggle with the disease.
Listen, I think for people that are going through something like this, hearing a story like Randy Gregory's can be disheartening. Like, man, if he can't stay sober or clean, how can I? I just want to use my time here for a moment. Like, there's going to be stops and starts for a lot of people. I know you're on 28 years running, but prior to that, I think there were probably some stops and starts where it could have been a longer period of time. Like, it's a daily thing, and it's tough. I wish the best for Randy Gregory and anyone watching.
I wish people would look at it like cancer. And if your cancer came back, what would we do? You know, we'd get you to
fight it again.
And that's the same way that we did. Randy Gregory, call me, man. Anybody out there, call me, because I still got feelings for you.
Moving on, after all the controversy, the end of the NFC Championship, there has been no consensus reached on changing the rules for NFL replay. Nick, is this the right move?
I was so glad when I heard John Mara yesterday say there's no momentum towards making non-penalties reviewable. Like, I guarantee you would not make the viewing experience better. And in general, in sports or otherwise, you shouldn't change the way you do things because of an outlier event. Because of a black swan event, don't change the way you do things entirely. The reason this was so controversial is because this never happens. If every week, you know why we changed the catch rule? I say we. The NFL changed the catch rule because every week there was a controversial catch. Yeah. If every week there was a play like
idiots didn't know the rule.
Okay, fair enough. But if every week there was a play like this, then we would need to change it. But there's not.
And if the NFL thought, the NFL's done a great job in the last 5 years of changing rules, not what's best for the player, but what's best for the product and the viewing audience. This right here, if they thought it was going to be better for the viewing audience, they would have changed it. They got it right here.
All right, finally, the NFL Combine is this weekend. All eyes on Kyler Murray, his height, how much he'll throw, how much he'll impress GMs. Surprisingly, though, several scouts are saying Kyler's hand size will actually be the most interesting measurement at the Combine. The old hand size. See, why is hand size so important?
The reason why the hand size is so important in the NFL was because the NFL's partnered with Wilson. And Wilson makes a number of footballs, but no football is made like this football. The circumference of the football, the length of the football, the way it's made, there's no stripes on it. If you look at all the other divisions that play, Little League, Pop Warner, there's stripes on the football. High school football, there's stripes on it. College football, there's stripes on it. CFL, north of the border, there's stripes on the football.
And that affects people's ability to catch it. I learned from you. It's not just a visual thing. When people hear stripes, like, what does it matter what it looks like?
Like that white stripe, that's right.
That makes it easier for the college football. It's easier to see it. It's not because you're feeling the stripe. It's because you can see it through the air better. That's why the stripe matters.
So this football, your hand becomes very important because it's tougher to throw this football. Also, what you can do, what you can't do to football. We've gone through that through the years. You can't doctor the football up. So this football is hard to handle. So it's a job hazard if you got a small hand. With all the people around you in the pocket, if you can't cover this football, it makes it hard to be able to handle, and it makes it difficult to almost impossible to be able to throw it. And that's why we have seen guys through the years, the best throwers that we have of the football, they happen to have a ginormous hand. The best pass catchers that we've ever seen. My favorite wide receivers, none of those guys have small hands.
So what's a big, in your eyes, what's a big hand?
Any hand over 9.5 is a big hand.
And you're measuring what, pinky to?
Yes, they measure it across this way at the combine. It's the only time your hand is going to get measured, but it's a part of your job interview, and it becomes very, very
how big
important.
how big do you say your hand is?
I think my hand.
You changed that question.
It's over 10. It's over 10.25.
Over 10.25.
Yes.
You're certain?
I have a ginormous hand.
You're certain of that?
Yes, and unusually long thumbs
find
too.
this out.
I
knew this was
With
coming
your
up.
tailor-made suit.
I got absolutely, it matches my suit. Let's find out, Chris Carter.
Let me get a little stretch first.
Okay.
I want to compare it.
So we go there to there.
Oh, yeah.
10 5/8 of an inch.
Okay.
Just for
that's
perspective.
For
Go.
perspective, Jenna Wolf. Okay, Jenna, you make everything so awkward.
Yeah.
Jenna is at 7.5, which
Okay.
I have no idea. Now I'm going to feel left out.
All right.
Chris
Michael Vick, one of the smallest hands we had in the NFL. It's 8.5 inches.
8.5 inches.
So you're just only an inch behind Michael Vick.
I'm so
You're going to be
close to
running
being
with the
an NFL
football an awful lot.
quarterback.
Nick, let me check you out.
All right, go ahead.
Because Nick's not that tall.
I'm 6'1".
Let me
How
see
big's
across
my
here.
hand?
Oh, Nick, you're almost 9.5.
9.5 inches. So that would be, so for an NFL quarterback, 9.5's fine.
Yes. Yeah,
Anything under, because
I
got a list here. Because short quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, 10.25 inch hands.
Oh.
Drew Brees, 10.25 inch hands. Brett Favre, nearly 10.5 inch hands. Those are all quarterbacks under 6'2". So the bigger question is, Mike Vick, for example, tiny hands. 8.5 inches, like tiny hands by NFL quarterback standards. That's why this number is going to be so important for Kyler.
Do we have any documented measurement on what his hand size is or could be?
No. We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know what it's going to be, but what it does is with the football, and this NFL football, it allows you, because football is an outdoor game. And you can't draft a guy that's not going to be able to function or play outdoors with the football in his hand. And what it allows you to do, when it's windy, you're able to throw the ball through the wind because you can cover the circumference and you can get that perfect spot between the laces and the end of the football that the quarterbacks like to be able to throw to get on top of the ball so they can spin it and be able to control it. So the smaller your hand, the less control you're going to have of the football, and the easier it's going to be for them to cause you to fumble.
What about the
pocket.
ability to throw without finding the laces?
If you got a bigger hand, you don't need the laces. There are guys that through training, they stop. Typically, the center is going to snap the ball where it's going to come up in your hand where the laces are on it. And then if you're in the shotgun, though, which we see a lot in the league, you see quarterbacks, when they get it, what they want to do is find those laces first. Most quarterbacks throw with the laces. People like Aaron Rodgers will tell you, I don't need to throw with the laces.
And we've seen some of the things. One of the coolest things I thought John Gruden did on TV with respect to him was the quarterback.
Well, he was actually better at TV than he is right now, but go ahead.
The quarterback camp stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things he would have guys do is, now do some without grabbing the laces. Because do somewhere under adverse conditions. So this is, I have been, of everyone at the desk, the most concerned about Kyler's height. If he comes out with 10-inch hands, which would be shocking for a guy of his height, football player or not, I will be less concerned. But if he, this is the type of analysis I will admit, that before I spent a lot of time with you, I hated hearing guys talk about the whole, oh, so you're telling me a half-inch in hand size is the difference between first-round pick, second-round pick. Spending this much time with you about certain positions, about guys trying to catch the football or throw the football, the actual hand size, because you to this day do these exercises that kind of cheat the test. Like the different things you do, and you tell young players to do things
I think
that
my right hand is bigger than my left.
Okay, well, fair enough. But the things you talk about, like
Yes.
breaking up the cartilage between your thumbs so you can essentially make your hand bigger than it otherwise would be because your thumb can point down. Like those are the things that really matter to these guys.
And there are short quarterbacks in the NFL with big hands. There are tall quarterbacks with small hands. Jared Goff happens to have small hands. Unfortunately for Kyler Murray, you'll hope he's not just a short quarterback with short, small hands.
Yeah, you hope not.
Right.
You know.
We got to take a
Small hands
break.
mean
Much
small
more.
blood.
First things first, right
Small
after this.
shoes.